Nationwide Football League Extra, in association with the Nationwide Building Society.
Coming up, more action than a right Schmeichel rematch. 112 goals. Get ready for takeoff. From Italy, how the Nationwide's best young players did their bit for England's foreign policy. And in the week when a Liverpool legend returned, we rewind to Anfield 82.
Rush! Well, he can do nothing wrong.
And we're up close and personal with Barry Fry, Mr. Motormouth. Never lost for words, but can Barry and Peterborough United talk themselves out of trouble at the wrong end of Division 2? Well, more from Barry Fry coming up. First of all, it's Division 1.
Another narrow squeak, but another win for Bolton. Behind after just 16 minutes, when Tom Cowan, Huddersfield's smallest player, headed in. But stopping Bolton's attack is another thing. Just 6 minutes later, Scott Sellers' clever cross caught out Huddersfield. John McGinley almost scored. Chris Fairclough did. And it was Fairclough's defensive partner, Jerry Taggart, who won it. Huddersfield were again slow to react to a cross, and Taggart ducked in to score. Just 15 more points from another 12 games should be enough to take Bolton up. Still in Yorkshire, third played second, and right from the start, Wolves were in charge. The commentator is John Helm.
Emblern, and now Bull on the charge, and he could punish Watson. He does. Steve Bull in only the second minute. Wonderful start for Wolves. And it's Wolves moving forward this time with Smith. And he'll take on Jones. And he's quick as Smith, and he's got past Jones as well. Delivers the ball, Roberts must score! 2-0 Wolves. Sheridan's to swing it in. Redfern's in there for the header. Thrilling save by Stowell, especially with Wilkinson boring down on him. And in fact, Stowell is out of the game as Sheridan drives it into the net, and the referee has given the goal. With Stowell flat on his face in the 6-yard box. And it goes from Froggatt. Oh, and it's an own goal. Disaster really here for Barnsley. Neil Redfern, the captain, has flung himself at Froggatt's free kick, and he's nodded the ball into his own net.
This looked a reasonable chance for Grimsby to climb out of the bottom three. But another goal from young striker Jack Lester was as good as it got. In first half stoppage time, Grimsby keeper Jason Piercy missed a cross. Janaga Fjordhoff prodded in. And suddenly Sheffield United were as rampant as a runaway troop of Vikings. Fjordhoff's sheer physical presence is enough to unnerve many defenders. Throw in his pace, his passion, and his wild celebrations, and you get some idea why Grimsby couldn't cope. By now, Bramall Lane was hysterical, as Fjordhoff inspired United's first win in 6, and his first win since signing. The recent form of these two sides suggested goals at the Valley. The wait was nearly half an hour, but then Stuart Barmer brought down Darren Eadie. Charlton's punishment was severe. Barmer was sent off for a professional foul, and Neil Adams curled in the free kick. But Charlton's dead ball accuracy was even better. Mark Kinsella sneaked his free kick around the Norwich wall. 3 minutes later, same place, different free kick routine. Mark Robson embarrassed goalkeeper Brian Gunn. But Norwich cut out conceding the free kicks and started to test Charlton's 10 men, with Eadie outstanding. The under-21 international equalised and then spent the second half stretching Charlton's creaking back four. Phil Chappell clipped Andy Johnson. Adams is Norwich's top scorer, largely because he rarely misses penalties. 5 minutes from time, Mike Walker's side were easing smoothly towards the points. Eadie's sprint finish appeared to have sealed the win. But how one goal can change the psychology of a game? Jason Lee's free header inspired Charlton to one final search. And Norwich were now so panic-stricken they couldn't cope, even with a man extra. Carl Lieben sensed the fear, and the big sub was Mr. Cool to make it 4-4. After looking the part in 3 wins running, more doubts about Crystal Palace's pedigree. The pitch is doing us no favours, says manager Dave Bassett, but it didn't stop Liam O'Brien thumping in one of the goals of the weekend. Ipswich Town are turning into formidable opposition at Portman Road. Teenager Richard Naylor squeezed in a rare header. But on the hour, Marco Gabbiadini enjoyed a rare, special moment. Without a league goal in more than a year, Gabbiadini ended his personal search, sliding into score. Then, in the final minutes, Gabbiadini saw his team surrender the points rather softly. Simon Milton caused the problems. Mick Stockwell scored the goal. Portsmouth's amazing 97 continues. Not so long ago, away wins were unthinkable. But after Leeds last week, this was a stroll. West Brom's ponderous defending helped. By half-time, David Hillier's goal, his first in the league since moving from Arsenal, and Dion Burton's header had completed the formalities. Stoke and Queen's Park Rangers are now struggling to keep up with the playoff contenders, so a draw did neither side real favours, but then neither side got close enough to score. It's now 5 defeats running for Birmingham City and their beleaguered manager Trevor Francis. The commentator is Peter Brackley.
Brown. Devlin's run here. Stretching Glover. Great run by Devlin too. Penalty. Devlin himself will take this kick for Birmingham and scores emphatically. Now it's Guppy swinging over a dangerous cross. There's some cool defending initially by Limpar. Then Porter to driving back in. That's a terrific goal from Andy Porter. In the meantime, Birmingham are on the defensive now. Guppy swinging it over. Glover!
Frank Clark won't talk about the playoffs, but another month of form like his first, and Manchester City might be in contention. Kevin Horlock's sign from Swindon has been part of that mini-revival. Steve McMahon, back at one of his former clubs, saw his team's hopes effectively ended by Peter Holcroft's sending off. Nicky Summerby then became the second ex-Swindon player to score. And Georgie Kinkladze wasn't missed. Paul Dickov made the third 3 minutes later for Uwe Rosler, another player excelling under Clark. Suddenly, Reading have discovered how to score again. The return of striker Stuart Lovell after injury is a factor. Only Norwich have conceded as many goals away from home as Southend, but Ronnie Whelan wound up his side at half-time, and Jerome Bohr scored with a crisp header. Now it was toe-to-toe stuff. Reading landed the next punch, Morley had the vision, and once away there was no stopping Michael Gilks. But Southend were making just as many chances. When Phil Gridlett headed down, Bora blasted in his second. Not enough to stop Southend's rot on their away travels. 15 minutes from time, Gilt's cross was a real beauty, and Morley was there to win it. Sacked by Plymouth Argyle last month, Neil Warnock is Oldham Athletics' new manager. Andy Ritchie has come back to Boundary Park to be his assistant and to try and lift Oldham off the bottom. The new era began with one of those fixtures managers call a real six-pointer. And when Ian Ormondroyd lobbed in, victory was a real possibility for Oldham. But Bradford possess in Chris Waddle the best player in Division 1 when he's allowed time and space. Waddle's cross was headed in by Ole Sungot. Then when Waddle initiated a counter-attack, Wayne Jacobs raced clear to set up the winner, gleefully accepted by the Portuguese striker Edinho, his first in England. That win lifts Bradford above Grimsby and Southend, who both lost. Manchester City go above Birmingham. Reading move above Charlton. At the top, Bolton stay 10 points clear. Wolves move back into second, 3 points ahead of Barnsley. Sheffield United's win means they've opened up a 4-point gap.